In this video, we're going to look at 5 recently released brand identities to see what we can learn. Let's go! Hello friends, welcome back to Flux Academy, the online design school. My name is Matt Brunton and today I'm back with our monthly brand identity review. And as well as the high profile rebrands and the powerhouse agencies, we try to select projects from smaller studios and a variety of industries to really help us learn this craft. That's exactly what we've got today, starting in Australia. This is from a studio named Alter, and I found this via the brand identity blog, and it's for a coffee roastery and cafe named Sixpence Coffee. And here is the word mark and the emblem. What do you think of it? I'm not sure. We've got these bars underneath the type, so this kind of slightly curved type, and I think really you need more of an explanation to make sense of this, and I'm not sure it's attractive enough or it works by itself. Although I do really like the colours. We've got this kind of rust, very desaturated rust type colour, and you start to see this line art illustration with this bent coin, and that's the whole device, the idea of a lucky sixpence, which is a bent coin, be given in gifts and things like that they mention here. I remember a sixpence from like what you put inside a Christmas pudding, but I don't know, maybe that doesn't happen in your part of the world. And we have stretched fonts for the headline vase, which is a real trend at the moment. So this is definitely on the trendy side. We've got this beige and then this sort of teal colour here. I do like this line art illustration, this double hand pouring the coffee. We've got this infinity sixpence here. But that doesn't really come through on this packaging. But we do see this colour scheme. It seems like they're going more and less saturated with this orange, red, rusty colour at different times, and then the browny beige, and then the various blues and teal type colours. Have some stationery here, outdoor posters, cool kids. They're definitely going for the cool kids vibe. I'm picking up on that. Yes, ride your bike to the coffee shop. This is very cool. You want a hipster making your coffee, that's how you know it's good, right? So we definitely get the vibe, and I think props to Alter, because what they have done is they've managed to achieve that overall vibe, the right feel, and that's so important with brand identity. You don't want things that are incongruous, that jar with what the feeling is you're trying to produce. So they've definitely done a good job with that. The line art illustrations help with that. The stretch type, which I'm not usually a fan of, but it's a trend, and this is a trendy place. I can see how it works. But some of the things like this van doesn't have the appropriateness of all the rest of it. It doesn't have the right feel to me. This is too nondescript, and it's not evoking the feel that I'm getting with these posters, for example. So I would say overall this emblem word mark maybe is not quite right. And similarly with the packaging, I'm not sure I'm getting enough of that feel. If this is outside of the store, where all the rest of the interior design and the music and everything produces the right feel, is that coming across? I'm not sure. But overall, good job producing the right kind of feel and introducing some personality with these illustrations. Okay, number 2 is for Sweet Kombucha, and this is from an agency named Bedo. It's from Sweden. I found this on my LinkedIn feed, and this packaging for this drink, which is a key part of the branding here, is a really clever solution. So if you look at this, it has the ingredients represented in a graph here. So 36% water, 21% SCOBY, does that say? I can't read these words. I think they might be Swedish words, but it has the ingredients: ginger, sugar, tea. Not sure about what the other two are there. Oh, here we go. Pomegranate, SCOBY. So they've used a graph to represent it, and this is a brilliant example of design thinking. They've thought through the problem and they've come up with this great solution where we can be really transparent about what's in this, because people often choose kombucha for health reasons, and people can see graphically what's in it, and if we just present that in a pleasing way with this nice color scheme, then the package has designed itself. So that's really smart thinking and I really applaud that. Also nice subtle art direction for the product photography here. The word mark we can see presented here, and they've used all these little elements here in these animations that also make up this SWE part of the word mark. And what I like is they've taken it further. The graph was a great idea, but then they didn't rest on their laurels. They've kept developing it. And they've done the same thing here with this photography, where they've tried to represent the proportion of the different ingredients in each particular drink. And that is really clever. I've not seen something done exactly like this before. That doesn't mean it hasn't been, but I haven't seen it. And so I think that's a really clever way of representing it, and it creates these sculptural forms in the photography. Again, presented really well. Consistency with the color scheme, even for the photo backdrops, and really done well. And then they can use these same animations across a grid to represent, or to create, different layouts like you see here on a screen or here on a poster. Really clever solution. You see how it would work on like an Instagram story with nice animation. Feels like a drink because of the movement. And then the graph comes through, patterns to add interest. So it's really clever thinking. It's a solid process. You could even just introduce that to a poster in this really stark way. See a few of the bottles together. I'm not sure about the color of the drinks. Looks a little bit like a sample. Maybe the bottle design isn't quite right. We should have covered that up perhaps. But the actual label design, I think, is fantastic because it's just a really smart, clever solution. Good thinking. Well done to these guys over in Sweden. The next one is for an insurance brand called Insurely from Okato or Okato. I'm not sure how we're going to pronounce this again. And I found this one again on the Brand Identity blog. And this is, insurance is not maybe the most exciting world to brand, but this shows that you can produce a great result in any scenario. It's all about what you bring to it. And you can see here the whole brand really come together in these posters. We have this color scheme, which is a monochromatic scheme of greens. We have the Insurely word mark in this slightly serif typeface, as in the very subtle serifs, a bit rounded, and that typeface, I believe it's different. It is different. Look at these, very different, but similar features in this typeface in terms of the way the serifs are done, and it's quite a high X high and quite large counters. And this gives more of a friendly feel, this particular serif typeface. And they're definitely trying to evoke more of a friendliness within this whole world of insurance. And then we have these 3D compositions that are the real centerpiece or the real visual interest in the brand, which I think that's smart thinking again, to create something visually that can be used in imagery. Because if you think about insurance, think, we're just going to go to another stock image library and get loads of people smiling or shuffling papers or sat around the meeting table, and it looks pretty stark, it's pretty boring. So they've gone to some image creation here to give them assets to use to add visual interest into compositions. And let's have a look at a little bit more of it. This seems a bit pointless here, this close-up of the word mark with anchor points. Our word mark has anchor points. You don't say. It doesn't really tell me a lot, that. And then we have an icon that's been created from this eye for an app or social media avatar, that kind of thing. And here we see the shapes that are used for these different masks. And what's really good about this brand identity is they've created parts and pieces that can easily be used across lots of different applications. So they've really thought about this being used in the digital space, in print space, and what designers will need. And designing a brand identity, really, it's about preparing those ingredients that the chef, the designers who will come down the line, are able to use. So they're creating high quality ingredients with these different shapes and this 3D and this color scheme, which is mainly monochromatic with the green, but then they've brought in these accents of a lilac and red, which the lilac particularly works well, and the red just pops out as a little accent. So that works well. I like how they've presented the color palette here, because the size of the boxes give you an idea of the relative use, the relative values of these colors. So you should use the white most of all, and then the dark green, and you can see that these lilac and red should be used as accents. So that's a nice way of presenting that. The icons again are consistent with consistent line weights throughout, and that gives them more devices. Again, it's all about creating elements. This particular approach taken by OK2, that I'm going to call them for now. OK2, I guess. Please write into us, OK2. Send us a postcard and let us know how to pronounce your name. But yeah, they've designed a custom typeface for this identity. More examples here: posters, merchandise, tote bag. Rarely do we see an identity design case study without a tote bag. But whether you'd want to carry one around with insurance on, I'm not sure, but it's quite nice for an insurance company. Got to have a neon sign as well. But well done. And it goes into further applications here. You can see within an app, this is a really nice interface design here. It's attractive, the header for the website. So again, just think about the parts and pieces, because they've got a color scheme, they've got typefaces, they've got these shapes that they can use as masks or containers. They have these 3D elements. It allows them to quickly put things together with a clear button. We've got a clear structure here. This is just a really workable, functional header section. That makes sense. So real props to them. Again, you can use these backgrounds to create different boxes. They've definitely produced a lot of really useful elements, and as a designer you'd be happy to have this brand identity. And I'm sure you've all had brand identities where there's been hardly anything, or it's been very difficult to use. So really thinking about the end user here. So I think that's really good work there from OK2. The next project is EECA, I guess, or EECA. I'm struggling with pronunciation today. And this is a Scottish architectural firm and interior design practice. And here is the word mark. And this is from a studio named Graphical House. I found this one on Design Week. And the idea here with the word mark is that it's symmetrical across the horizontal axis. Okay. So it reflects that they do architecture and interior design. Okay, reflection. Let's see if we see that. But it's a lot easier to do word mark with a short brand name. So definitely push your clients into shortening the name. Now, what we see here, whereas on the last identity, it was all about really usable elements. In this case, we have lots of templates and lots of instructions and long guidelines to try and cover all the different scenarios. So both those approaches can work, but people today are tending more towards the approach of let's have the parts and pieces, because with digital and with the proliferation of different devices, different applications, it's hard to cover every scenario with templates. But they've gone down the template route, and they seem to have done a good job with that. Lots of grids, lots of instructions. Often when I've worked with the bigger advertising agencies, they're often keen with their big international clients and corporate clients to produce lots and lots of templates and lots of guidelines, super long brand guidelines, 100 pages of all these different scenarios. And that's kind of the approach that Graphical House have gone down here. I can imagine with an architecture practice, they want things specified, they want things to look right, they need to have that architectural feel about them. So this use of the grid is very smart, and this restrained, very classy, these applications. So kudos to that. Let's just have a little bit of a scroll through, and you can see how an architect might use this kind of thing. They've also commissioned a whole series of photography. You can have a look at this for yourself, Edinburgh Castle, but I'm not sure. They talk about having a consistent photography style and art direction. Here you go. Art direction was a key component of the rebrand, with a new approach and aesthetic defined to provide a better overview of the various elements in complex projects. but I'm not sure how consistent it really is. I mean, this is very different here. We have this wide shot of the room with everything in focus, whereas then here we have this shallow depth of field. We've got this low angle. The lighting's very different in this different scenario, so it's not necessarily consistent. I understand that you need maybe more than one style of photography, but this feels different and it doesn't feel very architectural, so I'm not sure about that, although all the photographs are very good. So it's consistent quality of photography that I appreciate about this project. The website, etc., etc. So interesting approach here, very template based approach, very modernist, but I definitely think for an architecture practice that's kind of what you want. It evokes that feeling of reliability, and there's strong choices of type and colour, as well as a nice word mark that's very geometric. So nice work there. Graphical house in Glasgow, Scotland. The final project of today I found on my Instagram feed, and this is from Ragged Edge, who we've featured at least once, maybe more than once here. They're consistently doing great work. They're out of London, England. And this is for Circa 5000, which is an investing platform. And they actually changed their name from Ticker, which I think is a good decision. It's very generic, name related to the stock market. And they are from funding the apocalypse to investing in humanity. So the whole idea here is ethical investment. It's an ethical investment platform. So the idea is that in the future, circa the year 5000, the Earth will still be here, but humanity is optional. So the idea is that we invest in businesses good for people, planet and profit. I can get behind that general idea, but we're not endorsing this business necessarily. And you should take your own investment advice. So what we have here is a mythical corporation of the future with the look of it. This definitely looks like a corporate logo, this combination mark with the symbol, globe symbol here on the left, and then the word mark presented next to it. And it definitely has that feel of an American corporation. So they're trying to subvert the idea of a dystopian future where these mega companies, rule all. And they're using that as a device to talk about the future and what it could be. The future of humanity requires us all to invest in businesses that will benefit the planet, not destroy it. So they have this very sort of post-apocalyptic feel to it, but it's not an apocalypse. It's celebrating the landscape and celebrating the natural features that they have here. Let's see a little bit more of it. Welcome to the year 5000. Humanity is welcome, but optional. And this creative idea is what I think is the genius behind this project. Yes, it's well done. The graphic design is done well. It's all based on this monochromatic scheme with this bright cyan color, this sans serif paired with these monotype faces, these different fonts, and then these big bold all caps headlines with the word mark, and then particularly the photography style, which are recognizable as landscapes of the earth, but they look almost alien, so that gives them that futuristic feel. But the creative is what makes it. Look at this line: invest in things with universal appeal like survival. It's very witty, it's very clever, and the creative is what's to be applauded. If you have a great idea, then you just need to build this world and help everything belong in that world and this space, and it's taken us into that headspace of the future. Only humanity would need an incentive to save itself. I love this. Super clever, super witty. Shots of lots of these different landscapes here. Really nice art direction, all wide landscape shots, and it's consistent. And they've gone into some of the applications here, like the investment platforms interface and how this could work, and that all works really well. But these lines really help make the thing work and bring it together. Now, this symbol, does it remind you of anything? For me, it reminds me of the AT&T globe, the American telecommunications company, but I think that's okay because they're aping this whole idea of a big corporation. Thank you, Extinction. That will be all. So it's the wit here, it's the copywriting, and it's the general creative direction that really makes this project. And that was similar with the, let's just go to the Circa 5000 website and have a quick scroll through that. But that's what really makes a great project. It's the creative, it's the thinking. We saw that with the Sweet Kombucha brand, and we see it here with the Circa 5000. So make sure you use your noggin before you reach for the mouse. 5 identities. Which stuck out for you? Did you learn anything? Keep the conversation going in the comments. We have a lovely community here on Flux, by the way. 99% of the comments are generous and thoughtful. Hope my kids grow up to be like you guys. If you want to step up your branding game, then check out our Flux Academy course, Brand Design Mastery, which will help you follow a proven process to achieve great results. And there's a link in the description for that and all the projects featured in this video. Until next time, happy designing.